a very brief summary of what took place while Xavier and I were together and houseless. Understand that for approximately 18 to 24 months prior to meeting Xavier, I was also alone without a home, thrown out of my own house that I shared with my ex-husband. My name was not on the lease. Dylan, not Orlando and not Lewis. His mom was the co-signer, so legally they thought that they were within their rights to throw me out. They were not. You do have rights as a person who lives somewhere, with the landlord being aware that you're there, your kids have a room there, and you have an agreement with your significant other that you will live together in that capacity. You have rights. They're not squatters' rights. They're you're legally inhabiting a residence, and those are the rights that apply to that circumstances. To those circumstances, but I was not receiving access to those rights or that justice or that advocacy. So the first 2 years were spent alone, and I was mostly in hotels and Airbnbs, sleeping in the backseat of my car, on the couches of my friends and family members. Then my vehicle, a Cadillac CTS, got stolen and sold at auto auction without my permission, consent, or knowledge. After a man told me that my car was safe in his lot. It was like a storage lot, because I needed to pay $2,000 to replace the engine in my car after people who were stalking me intentionally messed up my car. And every time that they would break something, the mechanic would replace it, and then the next day it would be another thing. They actually keyed the car and left like a 6-point star and a 5-line hashtag and wrote the letter 11, which is also my life path number. So it got really spiritual and weird at the same time. And that happened while I was parked in a gated community. So when the car got stolen and sold at auto auction without my permission, mind you, the Kelley Blue Book value for my car was $15,000 with a brand new engine. It was paid off, Cadillac CTS. But I had a lot of miles on the car. But with a brand new engine, it had no miles at all, basically. So it would have been between $13,000 and $15,000 on Kelley Blue Book value for that car. Leather interior, heated seats. Everything else was absolutely mint except for one minor defect at the headlight. So that would have costed about $60 to repair, maybe less. I found a place that does fiberglass pieces rather than actual like steel Cadillac pieces. So they mold from Cadillac pieces and make their own. And literally the labor was all I was going to basically pay for. The piece itself was like $15. But anyways, the point is, then I meet Xavier, and Xavier tells me, now during that first 2-year period, I was literally being extorted. I was being raped I had been raped 3 times, once by force and twice by, I guess you could call it opportunity. I was not well enough to be homeless and in the street by myself. I was terrified. I was not eating. I was not having access to resources. I was calling for shelter assistance and being blatantly ignored. And I believe that the authorities thought that I was engaging in behaviors I was not, and maybe that's why they were not inclined to help me, but I really don't know. To this day, I don't have an understanding or an explanation of why I was left in the street and walked back and forth from O'Hare to downtown, and why they looked the other way and allowed me to be sexually assaulted. And I don't know. I don't have answers to any of that, and I don't know that I ever will. But when I met Xavier, he promised that he was going to keep me safe and protect me from all of that. And he said that his brother is the district attorney. So if your brother is or works with or is the assistant to the district attorney for the state of Illinois, and your family is aware of my case and what's been going on with me, and you're going to keep me protected from, sexual assault, then that's like a no-brainer. And he did. He took me to a safe house in the Gold Coast where we stayed for 4 to 8 weeks, and then abruptly had to leave that space with no reasoning why, in a big dramatic production. And I didn't have a lease to be there, so I had no legal standings to take it to court. And I was telling the police on camera and off, hey, my belongings are getting stolen. I've been being harassed for the last 2 years. I was in this show. I got a lot of publicity, some good, some bad. A lot of people fanned out, and a lot of people were like being there for me, but they thought I was loaded. They thought I was rich. I was getting paid $2,000 an episode. I only did 6 episodes. So that's really not that much money when you have nowhere to live. especially, and 3 kids at that time. Now I have 4. But it was like people were friends opportunistically when they could get something from me, and then they would be turned against me in a way that was like psychological operation, manipulation, and control in a way that you'd never understand it, like as a normal civilian. Like some girl stole my vibrator because they got in her head so much. Literally, I was performing as a sexy content person from 2017 to 2019. This girl broke into my home and took my you-know-what after I fell asleep, and then texted me about it 2 years later because they were psychologically fucking with her. I didn't know she took it. I put it out of my mind. I thought, well, maybe I accidentally threw it away, or maybe, the cleaning lady came and she fucking threw it away. Who knows? I thought, whatever, maybe it'll turn up under the bed, or who knows where. I didn't even think of it anymore. And then she basically was telling me, because they were manipulating her so bad, they were getting into her head, the psychological operations and warfare that was going on with all the people around me. This girl did something bad with some guy, some industry guy, and rather than coming out and trying to charge her for something or arresting her, they would just stalk her with reminders that they knew. And they called themselves, this campaign was called The Gift of Fear. And they claimed to be an intelligence community, based and tied organization. But everything they did was 1000% domestic terrorism. I mean, absolutely domestic terrorism. They should never be permitted to get away with. That was the worst campaign. I became a target of that campaign at one point. The difference between her and most people and I are that I was involved in big shit, but I wasn't keeping it secret. I was openly advertising it. So when I was taking dates with very, very prestigious, under the radar people, I was advertising that I was doing that. Going on dates with people for pay, literally you have to make a deposit to go on a date with me. And I was profitable doing it, but I wasn't doing that anymore after 2019. I wasn't doing that at all, not even one single time. So while I was homeless and trying to recover from the sexual abuse I had been through, literally gun in my face and my mouth, some guy kidnapping me, raping me, forcing me to sleep with another guy in front of him and give him all the money, it was fucked up. I went through hell, and I was calling for help the entire time, and giving updates to who on the recorded line, hey, I'm still here. This guy still has me. It's been 2 days now. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. All of this is on the fucking recorded line, and they did nothing to help me, dude. They did nothing. They sent no law enforcement. They sent no army, no military, no advocacy, no nothing. They just collected all of these recordings and never fucking stepped in to help me, ever. So when Xavier came and said that his brother was the district attorney and that they wanted to help me, besides the fact that my name wasn't on Dylan's proffer, so I felt like they were trying to throw me, not only is there liability for them having all these recordings and not doing anything to help me, but there's also a whole tremendous amount of liability with regards to the fact that they involved me in all of these proffer type deals with Dylan on a recorded line for years and never stepped in to make sure that everything was okay. But then when I finally said, no, I'm not going to do it anymore, they separated me from my children. It's the most crooked regime that you could ever fucking imagine being involved with. And I didn't involve myself. I was involved intentionally by Detective David Shepard, who said that if I did not surround myself with these people every single day and text him updates every single day, that he would have me arrested and have my children taken to the DCFS. And I had no criminal record, and still to this day have no criminal record. I have never been to prison. I have never been convicted of a crime in my life that wasn't a ticket. That's my extent with crime. So it's all been really fucked up. I went with Xavier and I stayed with Xavier because his brother was supposed to be stepping in, on these charges against other people to protect me. And to this day, his brother has been MIA, has not gotten involved in any way, shape, or form. And there's been a whole lot of other adversity that I've noticed with his father, with his mother. Nothing seems normal. Nothing seems, legit. Everything seems just really fucked, at all times from all angles. And then before I know it, when I feel like I'm literally about to die, something switches. It's like someone switches the lights on, and everyone who was acting crazy before. And when I say acting crazy, I just want to confirm that I'm not saying, like, I don't think that people who recreationally use drugs are crazy. I don't do that. You know, I don't use coke. I don't use party drugs on a regular basis. I have before. I've tried ecstasy, you know, several years ago. But the point is that I'm trying to make is just basically that, you know, I am a person who doesn't get in trouble. I don't run around with the industry crowd doing cocaine all day and partying it up. And I've never been a part of that group. So if that's the justification that your group is using to kind of justify not offering me the assistance that I, as a citizen of this country, deserve, as any human being deserves because of human rights, then you can cross that off your list, because that's never been what I've been a part of. I've always been a hard worker, a hustler, a business person. Are these cars parked here? Because this is literally the turning lane. And we've gone through 3 light cycles and they haven't fucking moved. Can you see what's going on? You're a terrible co-captain, honestly. So anyways, the point is, I didn't fucking, you know, deserve to go through what I went through one time. I most certainly don't deserve to go through it now. And they're withholding my money. Yesterday, they only paid me $47 fucking dollars again. $47 again. I make $159.72 minimum required every single day. And they fucking paid me $47 again yesterday. That's all they paid me for the entire day. And it's Christmas month and I have nothing. I have nothing. So Xavier's father has, like, literally I have 2 suitcases full of clothes and then a inflatable mattress, a sofa, and a pack and play that I got for Weston so that I could bring him home from the DCFS. So I met Xavier under those circumstances, that his brother was the DA, that they were helping with all of the sexual assault and all of the other shit, the fucking corruption from the previous regime, from everything that went on with Dylan, and everything started getting better. And then just like that, they pulled the rug out from under us and it started getting bad again. And we're, you know, now finding ourselves with nowhere to go, no money. They're not helping us with employment. This was 2022. And it's getting cold outside, and I never wanted a relationship with Xavier or with anyone else. I wanted to be single and fucking start a million buzz and be successful in business and say to hell with everyone and be rich and buy my kids a house. And that's all I've ever wanted this entire time. But then Xavier and I ended up becoming intimate, and that's its own story for another time. And then Xavier got me pregnant on purpose while I was on birth control. I don't know how, but he did. And I was on the shot, and that's Weston. And that came 6 months after just losing babies, twins, to preterm labor. He got me pregnant before that, also on birth control, not trying to have a kid, not trying to get pregnant, nowhere to go, no income, and I don't believe in adoption. So, you know, what was going on while Xavier and I were together was not the same. So first it was, oh, okay, I have no housing, but I have stability with regards to income. I have my car, I have my kids, I have my life and my structure, you know, that I've been doing since my kids were born. Then it was, they stole my car and left me outside with nowhere. And I'm like literally outside, no income. Money from the show is gone. I have no way to get even an Airbnb. And I've been being stalked out of the Airbnbs that I've been getting for the last like 2 years. So that was 2000 to 2022. And then after that, it became a matter of, now it's Xavier and I together outside, nowhere to go. If we tried to put up a tent at night to put a lock on it so no one could fuck with us or harm us or steal from us, the cops would come and start like hitting it with their stick, saying there's no tents allowed here. They tried to like funnel people into like these areas all together, which is the worst thing that you could ever do, because no assistance ever comes, and then you just have these havens for crime and people to blame the crime on. You can't get mad at people for eating. If you have a big group of homeless people with no income, no money coming in, sleeping in tents outside, do you think that they're not going to eat? They're going to eat. They're going to go get food from somewhere, right? So, but now by putting them all together, all of the bad habits of one become kind of washed into all of the bad habits of the other. And by bad habits, I can't get mad at a person for eating rather than starving. I just can't. I can get mad at a person for breaking into someone's home, you know, and stealing food out of their fridge. That's a completely different story, you know. So And that does upset me. But the point is, Xavier and I did not do anything like that. We basically just stayed awake, walking around, sleeping, and it was cold, dude. It was fucking freezing, sleeping in stairwells, sleeping in wherever the fuck we could go to sleep where no one would fuck with us or rape us or harm us physically. And then when I finally got so pregnant with Weston, I was about 3.5 months pregnant, so maybe about 18 weeks. And I started having contractions again. And that's the same time I lost the twins. And I said to Xavier, I cannot walk anymore. If I keep walking, I'm going to have contractions. We went to the hospital, Northwestern and St. Joseph's. I was put on a fetal heart rate monitor and a monitor for contractions, at which point in time they told us that I was fine, that I was not having contractions when I was laying down in the bed, and that I should go on bed rest. They were both made aware that we were houseless. I gave them all of the case numbers for all of the times I called social services and housing and shelter assistance. They did not help us with anything. They basically said that they had no luck with 311 getting assistance for shelter since before the pandemic, and they left us outside with nowhere to go pregnant. It was at that point in time that Xavier got a tent and we put it at Belmont Harbor Yacht Club, and I did not move again without the use of a wheelchair until after Weston was born, because every single time I would get up, I would start going into tremendous pain, contractions, all sorts of like fucked up shit, and I didn't want Weston to die. So to then give birth to him and have the DCFS attempt to charge me with child neglect and what was the other thing? Neglect and oh shit, what is it called? I just said it yesterday. What are the charges, Xavier? Dude, you fucking know anything, bro. I swear to God, like you've not been here the entire time. Child neglect and another word that means you're being neglectful, basically. And I went in front of the judge and I said, really, judge, so I'm the neglectful one standing here with 30 fucking case numbers, begging, medical records showing, hey, I'm going into preterm labor, please help me, doing every fucking thing I can do. Negligence and something else is what they are trying to charge me for with Weston. And I said, everything I've done was to keep him safe. Like, if anyone should be charged with negligence, it's not me. It's the shelter system. It's the hospital system. It's, of course, I'm not having contractions when I'm laying down inside the hospital with, you know, food and water and watching TV and breathing easy and relaxing, walking around in the middle of fucking winter, 5 months pregnant with nowhere to go, terrified, having back pains, random contractions, no food, nowhere to lay down. That's when I'm having the contractions, you know? And they're like, yeah, we haven't been able to find help with any sort of shelter system since before the COVID pandemic. 311 has never showed up to pick anyone up this entire time. And, you know, we're sorry, but you can't stay here. They wouldn't even let us sit in the lobby. Xavier, am I lying about that? They would not even let us sit in the lobby of the hospital. So, you know, there was nothing negligent at all about it. I did everything that I could to keep myself stress-free and calm so that I did not go into preterm labor and Weston pass away like the twins did less than 6 months before I got pregnant with Weston. The twins, I had to be taken by ambulance with one of the twins' bodies already having expelled itself from my uterus and the other one having to be surgically removed. I have been through absolute hell. And you people, rather than fucking standing up for me and saying, no, dude, that's not what happened. She didn't, you know, do X, Y, Z, leave her alone. You know, don't fucking stalk her anymore. She's scared already. Like, let her work, let her make her money, let her be a mom to her kids. You fucking loser. What else can we do to piss Heather off? How else can we scare her? Let's put fake notices under her door. Let's take shits in her toilet and not even fucking clean the toilet or flush. Like, I don't understand that. You know, I will never understand that. But the point is, it was not a walk in the park for Xavier and I. We had nowhere to go. It was not until I gave birth to Weston after nearly 3 years of homelessness, no car to sleep in, no nothing, that finally, after all of that time, we were assisted with a shelter, and it was a family shelter. We would have never gotten entry if Weston wasn't born. So, and then after that, I found a job in the industry again, bartending. I worked as a bartender for maybe 2 weeks before they changed me to cocktail waitress. Then from cocktail waitress, I did everything: bartending, remote bartending, cocktail waitress, appetizer passing, and food running. And yeah, You know, I did that for 9 months at Spin Chicago. And then when I left Spin Chicago, I just started driving Lyft full time. And I've been working as a transportation and food delivery person ever since that time. I used to drive DoorDash in 2019 to 2021. And I got Dasher of the Month all the time. And now it's just a bunch of fucking haters around me, like as per the usual, for whatever reason. The guys that come around are creeps and perverts. They want you to, like, you know, be intimate with them. And if you don't like them or want to be intimate with them, then they, like, threaten to take the money from you. And I don't like that shit. So I don't know. It's been getting intermittently better and worse. And Xavier and I are doing all right for a relationship that started under extreme duress for, you know, complete reasons of codependency, and not in the psychological sense of the word, but like, we have nothing individually. We need assistance. We don't want to get raped when one of us close our eyes. Like, we need to help each other. But his brother has still done nothing, and this is in court. So not much progress has been made in court. I've showed all of the proof of everything to the judges, and they've not really. The first judge said he was going to be home after a week. And it's now been almost 2 years. And then the big kids, all that this situation with Weston did was kind of push all of the drama that's been going on with me, you know, being there to provide for the big kids to the side. Like, that used to be my main focus of everything, like what I needed to accomplish and what I needed to take care of. And now it's like this drama with Weston comes first, then the other kids, then whatever's left after that to, like, take care of myself, which is not much, you know. So the sponsors intermittently show up and everything gets better. $300-400 a day is good. You know, it's not the best, but I could definitely live making $300 a day. It's impossible for me to live making $47 fucking a day. I need gas money. Like, gas in itself is $30 fucking. To fill up my gas tank one time is $30 fucking. I cannot live with $47 a day. It's just not a reality. I cannot make that work. So hopefully something will pick up soon, because like I said, everything was getting back to normal and stable. Everything was moving in the direction that I really needed it to move in. My apartment has been ready to bring Weston home since I got it a year ago. I have been receiving fake notices from various companies that aren't even real companies that I'll call, and they'll, like, have some random person answer the phone saying that Xavier's yelling in my apartment unit, and Xavier's in my apartment unit when I'm not home. Xavier is not in my apartment. He does not have a key, nor does he have permission, nor is he on the lease. So if he is doing that, then he's doing that behind my back, but he's always here with me in the car, right here. So I don't know what's going on with that, but the drama has definitely started to unravel again, and I need money, not drama. So miss me with the bullshit. Thanks.